Dismissed claims by the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra Masob that 9 out of the 19 dead bodies found at the Izu River 3 weeks ago were those of their members. The police commissioner, Mr. Bala Nasrawa, stated that all suspected criminals arrested under the guise of Masob have been charged to court.
As at now, many have been remanded in prison custody, facing trial. Therefore, any person that hides under the canopy or pretext of Masob or any illegal organization for that matter and commits any criminal act will be arrested and prosecuted by the police.
Come back to Izu River once again to ask the whole world to please help us prevail upon Jonathan to compel them to release the results of the autopsy. We want to see the Senate result, and that will also form part of our tweet tomorrow. Peter Obi is a murderer. Peter Obi killed these people. He killed them in cold blood. Peter Obi is the only governor to have ordered the mass execution of his own people and also ordered for their bodies to be buried in a mass grave. We can never ever forget these people. Izu River must be revived. We need the whole autopsy, not part of it. And Peter Obi must be held to account. Peter Obi, in case you know, he's a mass murderer, he's a killer. Izu River is testimony.
No, I like your point of view. You should sign up for the school paper. Fear the voice to be. Now, the people most idiots against technically speaking, but the most people make it fun. Thanks, but I can't pay on the paper.
Hello.
So, I'm going to be a compliment. Just join me. Yeah. People's crazy. Look, they're friends. Zid, you writers. I've watched for years.
You don't know the name? Okay. Are you okay? Do you live around here? Do you live here? Do you live here? You don't? Okay. They came there to their washing. Are you the owner of the cattle on the road? The cattle, is that yours? The cattle? The Nama, whatever it's called, is that yours? It doesn't hear English. Okay.
So this is exactly the spot.
Yeah.
Over
bodies were found over there. Can you hold on to this and show me?
Okay. Yeah. So this is the director of Radio Biafra London, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, having a feel of the situation here.
So that's where the bridge caught the bodies and they were floating. So this is the Izu River, Mansia. Those are where the bodies were floating, caught on top of it. You can see that if not for those twigs and the trees in the water, the bodies would have been washed downstream. And even villagers down there, some of them these are the people
underneath the bridge.
This is real.
Let's go. So these are the people that own the
Yeah. These are northerners. They might as well be here on surveillance. Planting, from what we see here, planting explosive device won't be a problem to them. Very clearly, because there's certainly no security here, and they are all here alone.
My mom.
They are all here alone. So our security as things stand now is in the hands of the Almighty God. To be candid.
There is no maintenance. You can see the bridge is basically rotting away. It is rotting away. And there are no barriers either. There are no barriers either to stop vehicles from falling off the bridge and getting into the water. No barriers at all whatsoever. Things are the way they are. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So that is what we have to scale these heights to be able to get down here. We have to try and climb it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
please drone from top of the bridge, either on that one or on that one. Drone, because we are coming from Anambra, so that is the exact spot they would have thrown the bodies from. There. They stopped there and they threw the bodies into the river. Most of them were wet, some of them were carried downstream and stopped by the trees in the road. Are you Igbo?
No, sir.
Okay.
Are you Igbo?
Yes, sir.
Are you Igbo?
No,
Who are you?
I am a Fulani.
You're a Fulani. Okay. What are you doing here?
I'm washing machine.
Your washing machine.
Yeah, motorcycle.
Okay. What do you do with the motorcycle?
I'm driving it.
Okay, you are an Okada rider,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, which means you must have stayed. You must have stayed well enough here to be able to know all the areas, which will enable you to now convey passengers around. So you know this environment too well, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you know about this water?
Yeah.
What do you know about this water?
By this water.
Yeah. Were you aware when bodies were found floating on this river?
This language is too far.
Huh?
This language is too far.
The language is too far.
Yes, sir.
You know when that body been full this water?
Yes, I know that.
You know. You know
Yes,
that
sir.
time, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what do you fit tell us about the dead body then?
Sir. That dead body said,
Huh?
I did that time. I saw some people. They are up there.
Uh,
Yes. They are with many, past 40 people. Some people that are stopping like 40 people.
40 dead bodies.
Yes, some people that are talking about that.
Okay.
That time we saw some of them that's going for inside water.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that time, you know, if they come here, wash your machine. Because water don't be polluted.
Yes, sir.
And you even can't be fear.
Yes, sir.
That is serious. Now, which side have you see those dead bodies?
Up. They are up.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Oh,
We need
okay.
to up. This side and
This side and up that
Yes,
side.
sir.
Okay.
And that is cattle moving on,
Yes,
on the
that
main
is
highway.
cattle
On the main
moving
highway.
without direction, without being guided
On the main highway.
on
itself.
the main highway, the trunk road.
Between the trunk road between
Enugu and
Onitsha
Onitsha.
Express Road. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So how much do you make a day conveying the Biafran people to and fro to their destination?
I don't know that.
You don't know that?
Yes,
Okay. All right. These are northerners. There could any day be potential Boko Harams that could as well decide. Okay, if we can picture it clearly, this is the sign, the billboard showing
Can you dim the lights
at
in
the
your room
entrance
completely
into
dim it?
Anambra State.
And you know the lights in your
None of
room?
them here are Biafrans, are they?
Yeah, no.
None of them.
None.
And this is our land.
This is our
We're in
land.
the US.
They
we're in
have-
London. We're in Chicago.
Yeah.
Other people have taken over. When I told them that nature abhors a vacuum, they thought I was joking. Now you can see. People are nowhere to be found. Others have taken over our land.
Honestly, the fear here is that once this group of persons decides to carry out anything funny, it will be very easy.
Very,
They
very
cannot be checkmated.
Not at all. They are here. None of our people are here. None of our people are here. None of our people are here. So, none of our people are here. None whatsoever. This is the Zoo River in Amansia. This is it.
This is the
Yeah.
Zoo River.
People we are dumped from the bridge into the river. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. None of these are our people. You'll be pleased to know, because nature abhors vacuum. These are cattle on the main road itself. This is our land. These are not our people. You can see the one there carrying an AK-47. Can you see him with a rifle? How long can he? Awog. Can you see that man is carrying a gun? Can you see the cattle rider there carrying a gun?
Yes, at the back.
Can you see him carrying a gun?
I can.
He's carrying a gun.
I can.
In our land. He's a cattle rider, but he's carrying a gun. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's another group coming. Yes, there's another group coming. This is the bridge. Unbelievable. They have taken over the place.
On the other side of the bridge is where you see NYSC saying welcome
to Enugu State. This is Enugu State, which is the boundary. Is Enugu State. And over there you have welcome to Anambra. And this is our land. And these people are carrying rifles, assault rifles. The same thing that happened at what's it called? The same thing that happened at is it
It happens all over.
What is the name? Yes, this is it.
In Anambra and every other place.
On the main road itself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. People rearing cattle on a main road. This is what is happening in our land because we are in the US, we are in Europe, we are in Asia, we are in all these places. That is why this is happening. This is a major road, a major arterial road. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And cattle is being driven through here. This is what we are going through as a people. This is what we're experiencing as a people. The humiliation is complete. This cannot happen anywhere. It cannot happen in the north. It cannot happen anywhere else. But it's happening here. Amazing. Amazing. These ones are not armed, but the one we saw at the front was. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Incredible. Yes, we are now trying to make our way back to the car, avoiding the herd of the cattle that is bound to come in a short while. This is it. When people say that we are overcrowded, and as I always say, they talk absolute people. I'm here with Arinza Wog. Once again, I'm the Kano. Look at it. This is a land that is empty, absolutely barren land. They say we are overcrowded. Everywhere, if you film across every pothole, every unmaintained, every nondescript motorway, this is what you see. Isn't it exciting that in our own land, all these people you're looking at here are not Igbo people, they're not Biafran people, they're all outsiders. And as we live in the UK, as we live all over the world, in Europe, in Asia, this will continue to happen. They will take over our land. And since we love traveling outside and enjoying other people's land, God will make it permanent. Since we want to stay there, God will make it permanent. There are no barriers. This is the water, no barrier. It's all broken. All broken. This is the river that is polluted. This is what we are witnessing. We have now left Enugu State to go into Anambra. We're now going into Anambra State, the home of the mass murderer himself, Peter Obi. This is where he comes from. God forbid bad thing. You can see that. You can see it. Amazing. So much dust, untidy, unkempt, heaps of rubbish on the road, and they tell you they are doing very well. And I remember, this is it. This is a major motorway. Incredulous, incredulous. This is it. We are still, in essence, people of the forest. Is the tire down? Amazing. Is it?
Well, you can take us to Onitsha.
Take us to Onitsha, then we'll fix it there. We'll fix it. Our tire is down. We have a spare, do we? Yes, this is it. This is how we are traveling. We live in Abuja. We live in Chicago. We live in London, enjoying other people's land. And this is our land. This is it. And in fact, this is even the cleanest part of it. These are people campaigning to be voted in to eat more money, to loot more money. These are the people. They say, oh, Anambra is wonderful, it is magnificent. You should look at it. This is what it looks like. This is the major road. If you're coming in here from the airport, this is what you see. These are the ones contending. They want to be voted into power. These are the next line of criminals and Hausa servers. Because of men like this, Hausas are in that stream, taking over our land. That is why we say to people that Radio Biafra is important, is indispensable in this very quest. Some don't understand it. This is why we do what we do. For goodness sake, this is why we have Radio Biafra. This is our land, where we come from. Glorious, green and lush, with the clouds in heaven, but we are very poor people. Very poor because we live abroad, not at home. May God help us.
Too many mornings and that's not what I'm looking for. I just too many lips and that's not what I'm looking for. No, I want it not for things of money. For my body, I'm not there for things of money. I'm only there for a
All hail Biafra, land of the rising sun. We love and cherish. We have vanquished our enemies. All hail Biafra. God bless Biafra. In him we
Good evening, fellow comrades and lovers of freedom. My name is Amaz George Izuchukwume. I reside here in United Kingdom. And it's 30 minutes on top of the hour, 8 p.m. here in United Kingdom. Presumably the same time in the Holy Land of Biafra. This evening on Biafra Radio, we're reaching you from London, and it's good evening, London. I welcome you, fellow comrades and lovers of freedom across the globe. As I welcome you, please indulge to welcome others as we have convened this evening to preach the gospel of heaven, to interact, to learn, as the tradition requires. And this evening will not be different. So today is the 9th day of year 20 of September, September 2023 of our Lord. And a lot has been happening. And Biafra Radio is the place we speak truth and nothing but the truth. So tonight, what we'll be doing tonight is basically on what requires on this platform. I'm going to be your host tonight on Good Evening London. Now, before I proceed, I want to welcome everybody, hardcore IPOB members across the globe, those comrades that have, felt so left behind and whatnot. All we are saying is that we all have sworn an oath. We must come together and form, a strong front to make sure that our leader is not felt left out or being disappointed as he told us. Don't forget that he actually said that he will not be the one to disappoint us, that we are the ones that are going to disappoint him. And I don't think it is right for us to allow that to creep in, knowing fully well that the enemy might want us to make mistakes so they can capitalize on it. And as some of us will bear with me what have transpired in the zoo. When this election started, we didn't want to involve in it. We never obstruct, democracy. But one thing is certain, it was a trap to our people. It was a bet. It was a distraction. All this was convoluted in the part to make sure that IPOB and Biafra agitation does not see the light of the day. And the majority of us bought into it, and it's detrimental. But this evening, I want to, like I said, this program is I'll put a multi-task or multi-topics, you might call it. So, but specifically this evening, I want to go more in-depth on the so-called presidential, tribunal, which we never involved in from day one, because we allow people not to disenfranchise people, not to preach against people not going to cast their vote as it may. Now, don't forget that even our number election, we've gone through this hurdle many times, and our leader have said things about election in the zoo and the outcome that INEC are the one giving the result. It wasn't something that's supposed to push any individual. If all of us was thinking in a freedom direction, if we want to emancipate ourselves, there was a golden opportunity that is still there. When they made that mistake to kidnap our leader, that is the only option we have. to abstain from anything that has to do with the so contraption called Zoo Nigeria. But guess what? I have said this over time that Peter Obi is a man that is very, 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 very deep. I'm not saying this as maybe to blackmail somebody, but if I want to tell you one thing and more thing I know about him personally, because some of you don't know. What I'm going to talk about tonight is what has transpired in the past and what our leader, the stand of our leader towards Peter Obi. I want to go into it tonight and to tell you that all this whole thing was orchestrated from day one. I want any single one of you to show me if there's any place Peter Obi have mentioned our leader, all this course of his campaign trail. He has never for once mentioned the ill treatment that meted against our leader, the crime committed against his own people. I don't know, but some of you did not know that our leader was one time the chairman of APOGA, the whole Europe, our leader, Mazum Namdekano, because our internal leader founded APOGA after MPN or whatever failed, then APOGA was formed. And Peter Obi happened to be the first governor under auspices of APGA. And our leader happened to be the chairman of APGA, all Europe, which has history to all these things I'm saying tonight. But the reason why I want to talk about it is very, very important and detrimental to us. Now, we cannot continue to give excuses in our part. We cannot continue to act unruly. We cannot continue to be a race of experimental in over time that our people have to suffer this humiliation at all times. Now, before I will go into this particular issue tonight, because I'm going to incorporate it with our leader's words. A couple of his videos, I'm going to play them tonight, and I will talk over it. But before then, I want to acknowledge the voice that have risen here in UK concerning the ill treatment, the extraordinary rendition on his own is a crime. And the same thing because the zoo was built under, because a lot of people were thinking that probably they're going to be killed in the zoo. It's not going to happen. There's not going to be any coup d'etat because the fact remains that the military is the one ruling the zoo. From the so-called independence till today, there has been the one ruling. After Britain was so smart to tell them, take off your uniform from the days of Abacha till today, Obasanjo now is crying, but sometimes God will have his way. Just like Danjuma cried about his own people. Is it Danjuma? Is it Theophilus Danjuma? If I'm not mistaken, the guy from the Middle Belt. Why I'm saying all this tonight is because we need to know where our problems start and how we should deal with them. So, and our case is very simple. Even we have our case here has gone into the Supreme Court after the Appellate Court, and now is pushed to the Supreme Court, which we are compelling the UK and the Secretary of State to take a stand on what happened to our leader as firstly a British citizen, traveling on a British passport. Even though you might say you have a dual citizenship, Onyendu have denounced his citizenship of the zoo. Legally, I think it's 2017. It was official. He doesn't carry the zoo passport anymore. He traveled to Kenya on visa. He obtained visa here in United Kingdom, which the embassy we visited here in central London, and went there for a couple of things he went to do. And those that were involved, they knew that he was there before whatever happened. But I believe that our leader knew everything was going to turn out this way, and it is in our own favor. But the point I'm making tonight is that we have failed to realize, and now, because when you live in UK here, his own MP, Herman, has been pushing, but no, I think a new person have come in. I think it's Maria that spoke the other day on parliamentary ground, and she made it emphatically what has happened. And this is what exactly what I've said. So I'm going to play that short video of hers, and let's listen to her, which is a very good that's a submission that is very obvious, and the UK government, regardless how adamant they want to be because of their own interest, but it's very important we acknowledge this particular push and what he intends to do. So we play that video, and then I'll talk over it before I go into what I entitled tonight concerning more in depth on what has happened on the election and those that have conspired against us and against our leader, because it was a conspiracy theory in the sense to abandon our leader in DSS dungeon. Now they created so-called obedience. So many IPOB members, a lot of us, not being hardcore, those that joined from distance, fell into this trap. I remember somebody calling me, suggesting that we support P2B. I laughed and I just give them a word of advice, because I don't get involved. I have never participated or think about or wishing good. I didn't. This is my personal view, not Biafra Radio. This is George Ume's personal view. I have my right to give my view as well as a Biafra. So now, let's listen to her, please.
Nnamdi Kanu, a British citizen, was abducted by Nigerian security forces in Nairobi, Kenya. Since his detention, he has been subjected to torture and many other unpleasantries. A United Nations Rights Council report released a damning assessment of Nigeria's government's treatment and called for his immediate release. My right honourable friend from Camberwell and Peckham has worked tirelessly on behalf of Mr Kanu and is urging the Foreign Secretary to do more to secure his release. Nigeria is a Commonwealth nation that receives tens of millions in UK aid. It is one of the biggest benefactors of aid. Part of this aid support must be a commitment to human rights and upholding the right to fair trials. Mr Kanu must be given access to a fair and due process. A British citizen travelling on the British passport should not be kidnapped in a third country and dragged to a Nigerian prison. The government needs to get much tougher.
Yes, this is an applause to her for making this submission on the floor of Parliament. And like I said before, that is one of the records we must acknowledge and appreciate, initiating that particular, though so many petition has gone up, with so many MPs, but most importantly, is we taking the bull by the horn to actually sue the Secretary of State, to demand her, to compel him to make it, to take a stand on what has happened to her citizen. So, this particular submission is something that all of us must be appreciative to, and we need more voices, because our leader committed no crime. Our leader right has been trampled upon, and every single IPOB member, don't forget we said we don't want any asylum from any country, but we have to go through it before we get what we want. Our people are being hunted in their homeland, and that is what asylum seeking coming is a convention. That's a convention, I think 1955 or so, by United Nations. Anyone that have been, unrest in their homeland must be protected. That is where asylum came in. It is not something that people wishful want to live in another man's country. I don't think so many people want as well. So that is the situation we'll find ourselves. And we thank Maria for making this emphatically in the floor of Parliament. And all we are asking is more voices should be come forth to make sure that our leader is being released unconditionally. And then all we are asking for them is to give us a day for referendum to the people of Biafra to decide. We thank her so much for this submission. Now I'll move forward by what I have just said today. I don't want to use so much word on this, but I'm going to talk about this based on what our leader has said. But P2B for me is stone cold. You know, there are some individual in life we know, maybe people that they know. If P2B will, even our internal leader, what did he do when he passed? You know, his wife is still there. People can go and do this research. You know, forget about all these shenanigans. He doesn't steal money. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. All these things is not what we want to hear. But that's what they call courtesiness. You know, you have to have that resentment of courtesiness. You know what I mean? Our leader was being, you know, people have so many people, even so many houses and middle belt have come out and demand for the unconditional release of our leader, which Soludo was emphatically said he wanted Onyendubi to be handed over to him. How many times have this man was on campaign trail? Then they asked him about Biafra. He said Biafra died 55 years ago. He told you that he knew what he was coming to do. This is not because, listen, what I want to tell you tonight is this, right? Personal view. Peter Obi knew exactly what he was doing from the onset. And the agenda was to make sure that they propel something that will a movement that will compel IPOB. Because as you can see, what happened when the obedience came? So many IPOB was actually openly campaigning for obedience. They were saying, okay, I will believe that when you get there, it's going to get Onyendu released. I knew that, but the people will say, you know, we know these people, they are unstable species of human beings. We have to experiment them at any given time. And they got what they wanted because they knew they throw that bone to the dog and dog cannot resist the bone. That's what happened. Some of you are so sentimental and emotional, and you allow your sentiment and emotion to override your intelligence. Thinking. Forgotten people that have not sat down and think. People that have passed through that path. How do they end up? You know, I'm not saying this to push to you, but we want to pick out things on what has happened and what do you do with it. So going forward, I want to allow you to hear what Onyendu say about Zoo election. We never obstructed any election because the party choosing to restore Biafra is of no any other have done before. I'm going to play a couple of Malema's videos tonight for obvious reasons. But before then, I want our leader to comment on concerning the zoo election. There's an interview he did with BBC Igbo. Let us listen to our leader. There's a couple interviews on this video, and I will talk over them. And P2B issue, I'm going to comment it because we're going to go into Ezra River tonight. And I will tell you who P2B actually was and what he have just done, because this is what he have done in the past. It has not changed. He continued to be a traitor to his own people. So let's listen to our leader.
Ihe na-eme ndị be anyị wụ na ha na-aghọtachi anyị na-eme ọfụma. Ịjụọ ha sị na m chọrọ ike wapụ Biafra n'ime Nigeria na ọ bụghị ihe ziri ezi n'iwu obodo ha akwadoghị ya. Nna ajụ ha sị ya ke ụzọ m chọrọ isi imi ya. Asị na ọwụ ka aga mee ntuli aka elu anyị bịanyecha aka atụcha vootu aga na ebe a na-eme iwu anọrọ akpa ya ekwekọrịta anyị gawa n'iru. Njụọ ha ndị na-eme iwu obodo Nigeria mmadụ ole si Kano steeti pụta 44. Ọ bụ mmadụ ole na-emekwe n'iwu a si Abia, Imo na Bayelsa pụta, ha erughị sọsọ Kano steeti. Ọ bụzi ụzọ dị anya ka ị ga-esi wee nweta ihe a ibu n'obi ebe ndị ọwa anyị na ha na-awụ nọchiri egwu agara agbachi ụzọ nọchi ebe niile, efe adịghị, ụzọ adịghị.
I think you hear some of you who does not understand Igbo. This interview was granted to our leader on BBC Igbo, and the question was asked, how do we go forward with our people? And so many people we are trying to push that we should go into the ballot system and get our people into the so-called Senate. And our leader is making an argument that only Kano have 44 seats in the Senate. That seat is even higher than the seats all the whole Eastern region put together. So how do you get that vote? Even though if you talk about voting in the Senate, we cannot achieve anything practically. It's not going to happen. That's number one. So, but this is one of the things we have passed in the past. Now, and our leader have over time, even remember the Anambra election. Some people will make comments when Onyendu lifted Anambra State. No election, when we said no election in Anambra State, at the dying minute, Onyendu lifted it for a reason. Because our leader as well take advice. And what we are pushing for, we cannot get it by just shouting and making noise. Even if you pick up arms today and kill everybody, at the end of the day, that matter will be settled. They must have an mediator. It's going to end up in a table. There must be a dialogue. So we knew what have happened before. That is why the path we're choosing on non-violence to restore Biafra, but does not mean that we will fold our hand, people will kill us in our land, just like when the Fulani invaders invaded our land, then we have to push back. So there is no way. But what has happened, the tribunal now, even after the whole Uzodimans, the Supreme Court governor, all these things we have scenarios that we can go back and remember when we're talking about ballot system. Has it worked in the past? How could a man that was in the fourth position become the number one appointed by the Supreme Court and nobody questioned it? Not Imolai didn't come out to protest about it because they know that our people cannot protest. Average zoo person are not ready to take any risk. They are not. MSAS can prove it because when we go back to the MSAS, what happened in MSAS? I don't know, the people start with you. I wanted to say you cannot achieve what you want by going out there to steal from people that now you're protesting against. Then your case is you have no case anymore. And that is why NSAS die natural death. And they bring tribal, they bring bigotry towards it, and that is how they squash it off. Because they know what they were doing. Now, let's go forward and listen to something. We take it from there.
And you're telling me that that country is viable. You're telling me that Nigeria should be supported. We are in one Nigeria. We are not going anywhere. And you're dying every day. Because those that they appointed to speak for you, they gave them money and positions. So that they will come out on the pages of newspapers to give the world the misleading impression that everything is okay, when things are not okay. Go through the statements of Ohaneze and see the contradictions in it. Nigeria is not working. We are marginalized. And then you come back and say Nigeria is one. We must stay in it together. Are you not foolish? These are the useless intellectuals that you have. On one hand, you say Nigeria is not working. You're marginalized. You are being discriminated against. You're suffering. They're killing you everywhere. And you come back to the same place and say Nigeria must be one. Had Nigerians gotten together to say they want to be part of this useless contraption, that's entirely their business. I'm a Democrat, I've subscribed to it. But have you asked yourself this question? Why is it that all those asking you to remain in one Nigeria has something to gain from Nigeria, or they have benefited in the past? Nothing more, nothing less. I saw the letter that Atiku Abubakar wrote to President Biden. In it, Atiku Abubakar said to come and help us fight terrorism in order to ensure that there will be no regional destabilization. That is their game plan at the U.S. State Department for very many years, until we stepped in. They keep trotting out these lies. Once Nigeria breaks up, there will be destabilization in the entire region. I said it because you don't understand African history. Most of these people are not educated. When I say, they say I'm insulting them. No, I'm not insulting you. Most of you are not educated. In Africa, we are tribal creatures in Africa. In Africa, we are tribal creatures in Africa.
We always go back to our village where we were born, where our umbilical cord, how long, where it was buried. That's where we come from. That is why every Christmas, Easter, New Year festival, or August meeting, you see us migrating back to where we come from. And I keep saying these things to Africans, they don't understand it. They don't understand it. Everywhere in Africa during Christmas, if you like, be in South Africa, if you like, let it be in Kenya, you let it be in Rwanda, everybody from the capital goes to the village. If you go to Accra, something happens past Christmas. If you like, go to Cotonou, go to Yaoundé in Cameroon. Everybody living in the capital cities of Africa, they go back to their villages. They go back to their tribes where they come from. Do they do that in the Western world? During Christmas, these people migrating from, oh, I come from Florida, I'm going to Florida. No, you don't. Because people come from where they are born. We come from where our ancestors were born. That is the difference between black people in Africa and those from Europe and other parts of the world. We come from, so if you ask somebody, where do you come from? He or she will mention their village. That is what makes us Africans. Very, very unique. If you destroy that, you're finished as a people. In Africa, we are tribal. First and foremost, we belong to our tribe where we come from. That is why our people need to appreciate this. Very, very critical. That Africa is restructured to recognize where people come from. All these artificial creations by Europeans, Nigeria, this and that, all that rubbish. That is why you can never ever make any progress for the next 6 billion years. You can never ever make any progress in the zoo. Why is it, if we are not tribal, why would the whole presidency come out, Fulani presidency come out and say, we are defending Fulani headsmen? A presidency of the whole of Nigeria, so to speak. It is because by...
Yes, that's our leaders. I think you heard what our leader have said. The reason why I allow this to play is because to lay a foundation on where the problem. Some people might be playing ignorant; they don't know what is happening, as if this problem just emanated today. It's been there. And if you are a student of Radio Biafra, you will not be fooled by anyone or confused by anything, because at the end of the day, our position was clear what we want. IPOB standing in the gap, the emancipation of every race, contracted inside that zoo. And today you can see the effort of IPOB have reverberated across the whole sub-Saharan Africa. That is why you see the coup d'etat is now erupting from every nook and cranny. It is not imaginary. This is a fact, and this is some people. This is the job we have done for the past 10 years. And EFF is, on the other hand, now standing on the ground, even though they are part of the system that, as it stands today, Malema might emerge to be the next president of South Africa. As it stands today, some of us, as you can see, on their 10th of anniversary, you see the moment crowd that came out there, and you can see the yearning of the people. I think I played it in a couple of broadcasts. There's one young lady that was called in an interview, and she was so bold to withstand the whoever that were interviewing her, they're making their stand known. So, having said that, but let me go back into, and there's something I want me play Malema's voice for a reason before we go to Ezuriva. Because Ezuriva is something that I need to talk about very, because it's something that our leader will work tirelessly for. Some of us don't know this history, but I'm going to unveil it tonight. Let's listen to Malema. I want to pick up one or two words there, because this is concerning Africa and what is happening in Niger. Probably, if I have time, I'll read some couple headlines, but if not, then it's what it is. So, like I said, it's a multi-topic program, but tonight is more in depth on their so-called, because before they went to tribunal was a distraction as well to engage the gullible ones, thinking that something was going to come out of it. P2B knew. He knew. It is not that he wasn't aware. It was contracted to obstruct what we were doing. That is why he never mentioned Mazen Nanikano one day, and I will show you why tonight. Let's listen to Malema.
Basic rights. What have we done to who? Are we a cursed nation? Are we a defeated nation? Have we wronged someone somewhere so that we can all of us collectively go and apologize to that person? For because no human being deserves the conditions we find ourselves in, next to us in the immediate is minerals being stolen by the Oppenheimer family unashamedly. And no one dares to say anything about that. Because you say that, you are going to be rejected, they are going to come after you, the highest price you'll pay is death. The people of Northern Cape are not so many. With the type of minerals we have in this province.
President and Commander-in-Chief, thank you very much for hosting us for this breakfast and for taking questions.
I think when you listen to Malema, what his submission he was making, he was referring to his own people. The same thing we are suffering in Biafra land is what they are suffering. And you can see how passionately he's asking, are we a cursed nation? What have we done? If we have offended anyone, that we all collectively should now tender unreserved apology. The same thing our leader have cried over years. You know, the young lady that I played her interview a long time ago, some time ago, about some so-called Afrikaner, they were intervening the both party, and it was there's another Caucasian guy there was being, he was very straightforward. He's not being partisan. He was following it head on. And she said something that they are not the children of Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. They are children of Winnie, the middle name Mandela. Some people didn't know what happened in South Africa. That fought they fought has not finished. That's what they're still fighting. Just like we picked up from our internal leader is a button, and that is why we are driving home. But now we can see the method they are using. They are allowed to be in their parliament and still pushing. And what they are asking for, those that came into their land and possessed the land of their ancestors without, anybody's permission, forcefully, they want the repatriation of that land without any compensation, because the owner of land, just like us, as I was talking to my younger brother, I think yesterday, I'm asking him, what if all of us wake up one morning and see Caucasians invaded our village? How are we going to feel? Because we are not accommodative people. We accommodate people, but we are sensitive people as well. So the same cry we are crying is the same cry Malema is crying. Are we a cursed nation? Onyendi said, if not for Chukwu Kabiamada, he would never speak to any one of us. And as you can see today, it's resonating. Things that have happened. Onyendi said, 100 men and women with clean hearts, Chukwu Kabiamada will give us Biafra. And again, there's a question being asked him, again, Malema, I think Ambassador of Spain, and his response is very important. Because it's concerned us as well, because we must, must pay attention on what's going on around us. So let's listen to him.
My question is about the day after you become president, once you've become president next year. So you've talked about anti-colonialism and anti-imperialism. I'm the ambassador of Spain, sorry, Raimundo Robredo. The European Union's relationship with Africa and African countries is generally guided, I would say absolutely guided, by the priorities of those countries. That's our line with the African Union and with these countries. As my brother, the High Commission of Nigeria, said, one of the requested is foreign direct investment, which I think you've criticized in some way. Other thing is cooperation in peace and security, for instance, in Cabo Delgado, which I think I've heard that you've also critical of that. It's done at the request of these countries. So my question is, what would you do differently, and what would be your relationship with the European Union once you become president? What would you change? What would you think we should do differently? And what would you put on the table also as a value proposition for the European Union? Because as you said, we all defend our own national interests. That is something that all diplomats do. So what would you propose to the European Union differently from the value proposition of Africa today, South Africa and Africa? And what would you request from us? How would South Africa's policy towards the EU be different? Also regarding trade, for instance, the preferential trade agreements, TDCA or AGOA with the US, would you change that? Thank you.
The same thing with the European Union. Don't say, what are we going to ask from you? That's a big brother mentality. What are you going to ask from us? Yes, don't say, why should it be us who are asking? We're not asking for anything. We're fine.
Yeah, that's for me, that's epic, you know. So because you can see how the guy was so boldly and thinking he's an ambassador. Who made you an ambassador? And you oppose yourself and another man saw it. That was an epic answer from Malema, and let's hear him.
So let's relate as equals, not as a beggar and the big brother supplier. No, we will relate with the European Union. It's a necessary body. We'll relate with it, we'll respect it, and the respect must be mutual, and will engage on what is in the interest of our countries, not what is in the interest of the European Union. We're in a mess now. We have decommissioned our power stations because countries like the USA, like the UK have said to us, no, do away with these things. We are going to introduce green energy. Here's the money and all of that. People took the money. There is no electricity today. So we ought to relate.
That's sad. You know, one of South Africa now, they're rationing light in South Africa. Though they're more prompt, but that's the problem. You know, this is the problem. Even America is facing the same problem. This green energy doesn't work. Wind, you know, it doesn't. It's something you can implement. It should be like a contingency plan support, but you cannot do away with your dams and all that because you want to clean energy. And these people are flying in jets. They're not traveling from US with their bicycle. The highest pollution is the airplane. So anybody campaigning for greener energy is hypocrisy, if you ask me. You travel on the private jet, on aeroplane, to come to countries you preaching this. You are a polluter. So I don't understand. It's kind of, this is an agenda. I don't know what they want to achieve, but this is now South Africa of all people now are suffering power failure because of wrong advice. And this is what I've suffered over the years. Very, very important. Very, very important we pay attention to this.
As equals so that no one imposes their ideas on us. We are people that subscribe to superior logic. Anything that is scientific, anything that has been proven, anything that makes sense, we'll agree with it. It doesn't matter whether it comes from European Union or it comes from BRICS or it comes from China or Russia. No.
Well spoken. Now, I'm going to, tonight, I want to show you something. The reason why I said I'm going to go in depth on the zoo tribunal, I'm not interested in it. We are not interested in it. But the genesis of who they use, because P2B was a pure distraction. And P2B knew what he was doing. Even this whole so-called tribunal, this is a plan, the plan. He came to number 10 down the street here when Boris Johnson was here. Boris Johnson went back to the zoo. They have a consensus. It's for the interest of Britain, just like what Malemala just told the Spanish ambassador. But the guy was used to make sure that he deviates and destructs our people, because Onyendu it was a golden opportunity of our people. People say, no, don't disfranchise our people. No, you shouldn't stop our people not casting their vote. Now our own want to become a president. He didn't ask when Obasanjo was there. What did he do for his own people? When Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Providence gave him a presidency, or after the terms of Yar'Adua, before now he contested and won, I think 6 years or 7, if I'm not mistaken. What did he do? Even the Toke, his own hometown, there was no Seburo to his own hometown. Tells you all you need to know. That the so-called constitution they're using today, that's why I say nobody is going, you will never experience any coup d'etat in the zoo, because the people that are written the constitution are the militaries. It was Abulai Salam concocted that particular thing. The Britain gave it to him in the Nikon log and Abuja. That's how 1999 constitution came about. It was not consensus. There was nobody. It was something that everybody came and said, okay, we approve this, that the normal constitution in every country that must be went through court proceeding. People now will approve it. Parliament, nothing. It was military decree they passed and give to people. That's what they are practicing till tomorrow morning. And that is why we will not hear the military, they are living large. No one is going to overthrow anybody in that country. And that is why you see over the years, that's why you see military in countries that have sovereignty. You don't see military come out in checkpoints. It doesn't matter if they have insurance or whatnot. You can have National Guard, they have, but you can't see a full-blown military coming out on the street. It has been that way from over 5 decades. It's been like that. Since I was born, I've been seeing military. So what are we talking about? So now, let's get into Peter Obi and who Peter Obi was. Some of you didn't know that Peter Obi, when he was governor, even though he betrayed our internal leader, betrayed everybody that ever come in his path. Now, what I want to say tonight is that, when they talk about Ezu River, a lot of people want to push it aside that, oh, we shouldn't be talking about Ezu River. Peter Obi did not do anything. But Peter Obi was a sitting governor. Peter Obi never constituted any inquiry about ascertain what happened in Ezu River. Never in a million times, such thing never happened. Tells you that he bragged about it, that when he was in governor, that he murdered the people that stormed up. Mossop, I was talking to somebody last night. Mossop, which Onyendu was part of before. Actually, Onyendu, they campaigned for Peter Obi. Mossop gave Peter Obi the governorship in Anambra State. Tomorrow morning. It's not something that, and after, what did he pay them back? He killed over 80 Mossobians.
I'm asking, why are you up?
There's no commission of inquiry that was set up by Peter Obi. I think on this campaign, because I wasn't following up, there was a time they asked him about that. He made a reference to how he dealt with them. That was the man. Some of you think that he's going to savage you. Forgetting that it was a pre-plan to make sure that to kill the agitation of Biafra and IPOB die a natural death. But I think everybody now is satisfied. For some of you who did not know that our day did not start today, Mazen Nandekan did not. Just some of you don't know why when we had his voice, we left everything we were doing. Let's show you what happened in Ezu River. Very important.
Actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, Masob, that 9 out of the 19 dead bodies found at the Ezu River 3 weeks ago were those of their members. The police commissioner, Mr. Bala Nasarawa, stated that all suspected criminals arrested under the guise of Masob have been charged to court.
As now, many have been remanded in prison custody, facing trial. Therefore, Any person that hides under the canopy or pretext of MASOP or any illegal organization for that matter and commits any criminal act will be arrested and prosecuted by the police.
Come back to Azu River once again to ask the whole world to please help us prevail upon Jonathan to compel them to release the results of the autopsy. We want to see the Senate result, and that will also form part of our things tomorrow. Peter Obi is a murderer. Peter Obi killed these people. He killed them in cold blood. Peter Obi is the only governor to have ordered the mass execution of his own people, and also ordered for their bodies to be buried in a mass grave. We can never ever forget these people. Azu River must be revived. We need the whole autopsy, not part of it. And Peter Obi must be held to account. Peter Obi, in case you know him, is a mass murderer, he's a killer. Azu River is testimony.
This is the voice of our leader. And the video, because our leader has been the messiah of our time. Onyendu went for expedition to Azu River. Some of you have not seen the video. I'm going to play it now, but I want it to come from our leader. It's not me. I want to say Peter Obi is a mass murderer. You know, when we start, when this whole thing started, I said it a couple of times. Some people will say, "Oh, why don't you support your own? Why don't you support your own?" Sentiment and emotion. And the people we are dealing with knew where our soft touch, our weakest point is. Why these people will always trample on our own fundamental right at any given time. Because they know you will always say, wait. The people you are saying, wait, they are holding sword on the other side and talking to you nicely. When you refuse to answer them, they will slaughter you. And that's what I've been doing over the years. It will be, the reason why I want this to be, people to reverberate in your brain is that there is no any option left. Okike have just done it by himself. He have exhausted every avenue humanly possible, because our hands are clean, and what we are fighting for is a just cause. But Peter Obi is a stone cold. None of you know who Peter Obi is. Even when they had issue with Fadambaka, I'm not a fan of Fadambaka. Fadambaka has been outspoken up even for Onyendu. But did you hear Peter Obi mention our last name in post office? Some of you claiming that Peter Obi was going to release Onyendu. Did he went to see our leader in prison? Did he ever, in DSS dungeon, did he ever mention Mazen Nandekan once? He didn't tell you something that all of you have, like, suddenly forgotten what you were doing and jumping like antelope everywhere. It was disheartening. But thank God that this
because I was one that passed there.
The question is that how many times will it happen to you before you learn? Very, very important. Listen to Onyendu. This is 10 years ago. This happened 10 years ago. Our leader did this video 10 years ago about Azu River. A man that loves his own people, a man that understands what fundamental right is all about, a man that have worked tirelessly for his own people, including Peter Obi, because he's under Apoga. He served every single one of them. Peter Obi was living here in London. He's not like someone that probably no one knows who he was. But people that is ugly are ugly. And Oyemi said he's a mass murderer. Most of brought Peter Obi because it was a blessing of our internal leader. He betrayed our internal leader, betrayed the whole nation. How do you think he's one that's going to savage you? All the things that you see there doing shenanigans, they're cooking rice in the pot and all that, all these are rubbish because they want to calm the morons down. Because they know they wouldn't do anything. And you see him every day coming to court and be tweeting. You think you're dealing with a normal person. I'm sorry. Watch, please.
Hello.
This is our leader in the Ezu River.
You don't know the name? Okay. Are you okay? Do you live around here? Do you live here? Do you live here? You don't? Okay. They came there to their washing. Are you the owner of the cattle on the road? Cattle, is that yours? The cattle? The Nama, whatever it's called, is that yours? It doesn't have. Okay.
So this is exactly the spot.
Yeah.
Over 30
bodies were found over there.
were found.
Can you hold on to this and film me?
Okay. So this is the director of Radio Biafra London, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, having a feel of the situation here.
So that is where those debris caught the bodies and they were floating. So this is the Zoo River in Amansia. Those are where the bodies were floating, caught on top of it, as you can see. That if not for those twigs and the trees and the water, the bodies would have been washed downstream.
Sure.
And even villagers down there, some of them flooded. These are the people who
underneath the bridge.
They are here washing. There is none of us are here. But these are the people that own the cattle.
Yeah.
Very soon we'll be occupied by this.
These are northerners. They might as well be here on surveillance. Planting, from what we see here, planting explosive device won't be a problem to them. Very clearly, because there's certainly no security here, and they are all here alone.
Just to understand, this happened 10 years ago. Remember when Onyendu went to America and warned them about Fulani herdsmen, what they were doing, and they labeled him a warmonger. Now, because I don't know how to say it. The reason why I'm playing this video, some people didn't know about this. Some people do know about it. But it's very educative for you to understand. And now, this is why we need to start asking questions. We cannot be like sheep that have got no guidance. We must make a decision and stand on it. This is our leader 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
They are all here alone. So our security as things stand now is in the hands of the Almighty God.
It's in the hands of the Almighty God.
To be candid.
There is no maintenance. You can see the bridge is basically rotting away. It's rotting away. And there are no barriers either. There are no barriers either to stop vehicles from falling off the bridge and getting into the water. No barriers at all whatsoever. Things are the way they are. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So that is what we have to scale these heights to be able to get down here. We have to try and climb it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is it. The bodies are basically thrown from top of the bridge, either on that one or on that one, thrown. So that is the exact spot they would have thrown the bodies from. Yeah. There. They stop there and they throw the bodies into the river. Most of them were wet. Some of them were carried downstream and stopped by the people in the water. They bring in the water. Are you Igbo?
No, sir.
Okay.
Are you Igbo?
Yes, sir.
Are you Igbo?
No.
Who are you?
I am a Fulani.
You're a Fulani. Okay. What are you doing here?
I'm washing machine.
Your washing machine?
Yeah, motorcycle.
Okay. What do you do with the motorcycle?
I'm driving it.
Okay, you are an Okada rider,
yes,
right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, which means you must have stayed well enough here to be able to know all the areas, which will enable you to now convey passengers around. So you know this environment too well, right? What do you know about this water?
Yeah.
What do you know about this water?
This water.
Yeah. Were you aware when bodies were found floating on this river?
This language is too far.
Huh?
This language is too far.
The language is too far.
Yes, sir.
You know when that body been full this water?
Yes, I know.
You know. You know
Yes,
that
sir.
time, say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you feel tell us about the dead body then?
Sir, that dead body. He said.
Huh?
I did that time. I saw some people. They are up there.
Huh?
Yes, they are many. Past 40 people. Except some people that are sleeping like 50 people.
Still this?
Yes, some people that are talking about that.
Okay.
That time we saw some of them that's going for inside water.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that time you know if they come here wash your machine because water don't be polluted, and you even can't be fear.
Yes, sir.
That is serious. Now which side have you see those dead body?
Up. They are up.
Yes.
You need to up. These
Side and that side.
Okay.
That is to me on
Yes,
the,
that
the main
is
highway.
cattle
On the main
moving
highway.
without direction, without being guided.
On the main highway.
On the main highway, the trunk road.
Between the trunk road between
Enugu and Onitsha.
Express Road. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So how much do you make a day conveying the Biafran people to and fro to their destination?
I don't know that.
You don't know that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. These are northerners. There could any day be potential Boko Harams that could as well decide. Okay. If we can picture it clearly, this is the sign, the billboard showing
this is our leader, and like I said, the reason why I'm playing this video tonight is to remind the majority of our people who are not aware. Because if we have a system that works democratically, P2B should be, the answering questions of what he did when he wasn't. Because this is murder. Over 18 people's life was wasted. Anybody, I said, we brought up this issue before, when they talk about it, even before election, when you have talked over this individual so many times. P2B in particular is a stone cold. What I mean stone cold is a stone cold. Check what stone cold means. Now, the reason why he's the first governor that have murdered those that actually brought him in and kept quiet about it, bragged about it. So this is not about the election or no election. P2B didn't fail. He did not fail for Abadan Santana. P2B knew what he was doing. He's done his job. That is why he became from PDP, created Labour Party. Now there's chaos everywhere, including Abubakar, including his counterpart. All of them were in support of what is happening. Atiku is involved. This is something, they agreed on it, but they must create a scenario. A blind man can even see this. This thing they are doing was a shenanigan. This is just cover up. There's no way. Doesn't matter if they bring Joe Biden that he was in power as well, you will rig the election because of COVID-19. So they have no moral justification to tell them what to do. They're all in the same game. All of us knew that Donald Trump, the first time in America, how many times they tried to indict him now? Now, like I'm talking about right now, I think the man have surrendered himself. He's leading in every poll in America. That's corruption. So everybody's saying P2B didn't fail. P2B accomplishes what he's been paid, contracted to do, to distract you, gullible ones out there. But the reason why I'm playing this video, to you to know what P2B did, there's no commission of inquiries about the death of Ezu River under his own watch as a sitting governor. He is the chief in commander of state of Anambra when he was in charge. When this thing happened. So I will allow this video because it's a long-length video, but it's very important to allow it. I might put it again alone to play or post it in our page. for you to go and watch it. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I don't want to be because it's about another 10 minutes or so. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to post the video on our page again. So some of you doubting Thomas should go and watch it because some of you have forgotten about his deeds. And what he have done now is even worse than what happens in Ezu River. Oyendu was kidnapped from Kenya, brought back to Nigeria. And the same system that brought Mazen Nnamdi Kanu that did not establish where this man was brought back from. How do you think you're going to get justice in that system? It is a common sense. I want you to go back and sober reflection on what because you guys have dragged yourself into mold. My question is, how long are we going to be a species of experiment? When they talk, they become sentiment. Oh, you fell. Nobody fell here. A man have collected whatever he's collected, whatever is contracted. All I know is that it was a job agreed upon. The man has done his work. And now all the things they are doing is to confuse the gullibles out there. But we shall never forget what happened in Ezu River because somebody must answer that question. They are Mosobian. Onyendu was Mosobian. So there are so many IPOB that are Mosobian because Wazuke couldn't carry on does not mean they are Biafrans. You know what I mean? So all of us are. So we will never left our own. That's all I have to say. So I will not play this video till the end. All I'm going to do, we are going to paste this in our Facebook page for you to go again and watch the video. This is our leader. Our leader that did the video is not me. So it is very, very important that you listen to our leader, what he has to say. He took his time, left everything he's doing, and went down to Biafra land and covered this particular event. Because he is a man that makes sure that everything he says, we only stand on factuals, fact check every single thing we say. And it is disheartening and heartbreaking what has happened. Those men and women that were murdered in cold blood and thrown in Ezu River will never forget. But it is Peter Obi, and we shall remember him for his job that he have done again. For some of you that were hoping that the Messiah will come through him, I don't feel sorry for any single one of you, but lesson learned and know that his infertility, and as we warn you from day one, and again, the prophecy of our leader have come again and fulfilled. So we question you, asking yourself, what is the next thing to do? How do you restore your dignity as a human being, as a race? How do we restore Biafra? It is time to go back to the drawing board because IPOB is the only one standing in the gap. Our leader is still there in DSS dungeon, has not compromised. That is the one hope every single one of us shall be proud of. Our leader, that is the golden egg, and our eyes shall be upon him because that is the only thing that concerns you. How is our leader conducting himself? He has not failed. Every single thing he has said has come to pass. And as it is today, what has happened now, again, has exonerated him once again and every genuine IPOB member. But what I'm saying, collectively, it is time for every single one of you to come on board and know that there is nothing that will salvage that contraption. As the sub-Saharan Africa now are going into coup d'etat, which is revolution, you won't experience such thing in that particular contraption because already military has taken over. Everything they do is under barrel. That's why you see every little thing, military will be on air, bombing villages and townships. It is not zoo, it never governed by civilian. It is military system we've been upon over 4.5 decades now. It was open, it wasn't hidden. So let us learn something from what has just happened. It is not our business. But thank God that people were not disenfranchised of them, exercising their fundamental right as they claim to be the citizens of so-called zoo and our people, Biafran people. That is why our request is very simple. That particular respite is what we want. Give us that opportunity to our people to say yes or no, that we want to be part of you or not. As long as if that takes place, there won't be any argument. And that has been our stand. And that stand is still what we're taking. And I will thank every single one of you for listening to me this evening. And all I have to say is that let us continue to pray for our leader, Onyendu Mazin Namdekano. I don't have time to read some news this evening. I've been over here over an hour, so maybe subsequently supposed to have pay-per-views and all that, but like I said, I couldn't be able to do it. I have just stayed through what I could be able to say, and I thank every single one of you for listening to my voice this evening. And this is Biafra Radio, and this is Good Evening London. And my name is Members George Chukwume, and I'll be signing off from here.